So this is the little model of our mouth and throat. And as you can see, it is not incredibly descriptive. There's not a lot of stuff in here, right? But what is in here is the tongue, and we have a model of the epiglottis. See the epiglottis right here? And you can see how the esophagus is kind of squishy. This is a patient laying on their head, okay? And inside that larynx, can you see in there? You can see the vocal cords.
You can.
Yeah, you probably can't, sorry. Can you see in there? I hope you can.
More pink, right? The inside.
Yeah, can you see in there? Yep.
What are you looking at here?
So this is the esophagus, yep. And there's the epiglottis right here. That's this little flappy part of tissue. And then we have our vocal cords right inside there. See? Okay. Vocal cords are not quite as important to you guys as they might be to an advanced EMT or a paramedic, because we're not going to put anything down far enough to go through their vocal cords. However, it's a fairly important anatomical landmark, and so it's important that you know where they're at, right? Okay, so we have, what did I do with my marker? There it is. We have our lower airway, or excuse me, this is our upper airway. And then we have our lower airway. And we're going to start our lower airway with our trachea. What are the structures of our lower airway?
Carina.
Okay, we have the carina,
Lungs.
we have lungs, and our lungs divide, don't they? Into what?
Lobes.
Lobes. And how many lobes do we have on the right side?
3.
We have 3. How many lobes do we have on the left side?
Those.
I should get rid of 2 and write dos. Okay? We have 3 on the right side, we have 2 on the left side. Why do we only have 2 lobes on our left side?
Heart's in the way.
Because our heart's in the way. Okay? What else is there?
Your spleen's higher though.
Not that high. It's under the diaphragm.
It's under the diaphragm, yep.
Diaphragm.
Okay, so the diaphragm is part of our lower airway. Who did the endocrine system, guys?
That would be.
Was that you?
That's me.
You did the endocrine system? What endocrine gland is located in your mediastinum?
Mine or?
In everyone's.
T cells. It makes the T cells. Or used to. When you're in puberty.
That's right.
Can't remember what it's called though.
I don't know.
Thyroid.
Pardon?
Thyroid.
Not thyroid. Thyroid's up here. Near the thyroid cartilage, right? Anybody write it down in their notes?
Yeah, thyroid probably. Yes, I guess I did. 1 second. I'll list them all down. Okay. It's not the ovaries.
Not the ovary.
Pancreas, parathyroid, this neck, pituitary gland, this is stool.
Thymus.
The thymus. Yeah. The
Thymus.
thymus gland is located in the mediastinum. Mediastinum, mediastinum, depending on who you talk to, it's pronounced differently. Okay?
And that's
So
the space above the diaphragm?
the space above the diaphragm is called the thoracic cavity. Okay? The space that exists in between the lungs, that center space in between the lungs, is called the mediastinum.
Okay.
Okay? The heart exists there. The thymus exists there. That's where your lungs branch at, where we go to our right and left main stem bronchi. That all happens in the mediastinum. Okay. All right. What other anatomy? What other pieces and parts belong in our lower airway?
Bronchioles.
Okay. let's go with bronchi at first. Okay. Then we have bronchioles. Then what?
Alveoli.
Yeah, alveoli. Anything else?
Pulmonary capillaries.
Okay, we have pulmonary capillaries. Is that part of our airway system or is that part of our circulatory system? It's going to be part of our circulatory system, but it's still a really important structure that we find in our lower airway, right? Okay, so why do we divide our airway into upper and lower?
Does respiratory things affect them differently?
Because respiratory things affect them differently. Why else? You're not wrong. You are correct. Respiratory things affect them differently.
Partly due to management of the upper airway, you could start with diagnosing that. If they're not getting enough oxygen, start see if there's a blockage in the upper airway, which would affect the rest of the airway.
So our treatment options might be different. Is that what you're getting at?
If the tongue is relaxed and is blocking, or something in the
Yeah. Our treatment options might be different. So, when you are listening to someone breathing and you can hear a sound, you can hear it without assistance, so you're not using your stethoscope. Most of the time, almost all of the time, those sounds are going to come from the upper airway. Okay, if we have a high-pitched whistling sound that's heard on inspiration, that's called stridor. Oh, I should change my color. And what do you think stridor indicates?
Swelling.
Asthma? Like swelling of the...
Asthma mostly affects the lower airway.
Okay.
So if we have a high-pitched sound on inspiration, also known as stridor, we're going to have a problem with our upper airway. So in many cases, this indicates some type of blockage. Some type of blockage in the upper airway. It can be a foreign body. It can be caused by epiglottitis. Okay, epiglottitis often presents with stridor. You're going to have a high-pitched whistling sound on inspiration. What are some of the sounds that you're going to hear in the lower airway?
Crackling.
Crackling. What is crackling? What does it indicate? You're right.
I know, I just don't know what it actually indicates, so...
Fluid
It indicates fluid where?
in the lungs.
In the lungs. And what is that? What? More than fluid in the lungs, it indicates fluid in the alveoli. Okay? And the crackling that you're hearing, that Rice Krispie sound that you're hearing, is the air trying to travel through the water. Okay? Trying to travel through the fluid down there. What are some of the other sounds that we're going to hear in the lower airway? We talk about asthma. What do you hear from an asthmatic?
Wheezing.
Wheezing. What does wheezing sound like?
Dog's chew toy.
It can sound like a dog's chew toy if the dog is squeezing it pretty slowly.
High-pitched whistle.
Yeah, it's a high-pitched noise, and you're not likely to hear wheezing without some assistance, without a stethoscope. Now you might, but it's not quite as likely. This is audible. When you walk into a room, you can hear this. Okay? What other sounds might we hear in the airway?
Rails.
Rails. What are rails?
I don't know, I just remember it. It's a word.
Okay. so if we hear any sorts of sounds in the airway, then we need to recognize that's not normal. I mean, if we were just to sit and listen just for a minute, everybody stop talking, including me, you can't hear each other breathe. If you were to take a stethoscope and you were to listen to each other breathe, it's quite likely that none of us would be able to hear our lung sounds because we're not hearing anything within the lung fields. Okay? So most people who you see on a day-to-day basis, most of them aren't going to have a problem with breathing. None of us right here are having a problem breathing. So, can you recognize what normal breathing is? How do you know that a person is breathing normally?
Effortless, soundless.
Yeah, we have no effort, there's no sound.
Adequate chest rise and fall.
We have equal and bilateral chest rise and fall. What else?
Doesn't appear to be labored or their auxiliary muscles. What is this again?
We're not using any of our auxiliary muscles. What else?
I mean, how they're positioned.
How they're positioned. Okay, so to recognize normal breathing,
Skin's normal.
we've got good skin color. We have no sounds. It's effortless. They're in a good position. They've got good skin color. This means what? What does good skin color mean?
Perfusion.
They've got good perfusion, right? So we are not seeing any cyanosis. What else did we list when we were just talking? We've got no sounds, that's effortless.
Auxiliary muscles.
Okay, we aren't using any auxiliary muscles, accessory muscles. What else?
The chest rise and fall.
Yep, we've got equal and bilateral chest rise and fall. You guys are missing a pretty obvious one.
There's no airway obstructions.
Pardon?
There's no airway obstructions.
There's no airway obstructions.
They can speak or cry. That's a good sign they can
Okay.
breathe.
They've got normal speech or crying. How about a normal respiratory rate? What is the normal respiratory rate for an adult?
12 to 20.
12 to 20 breaths per minute. If a person is breathing too fast or too slowly, it's pretty obvious. I mean, you can look at a person and say, oh, that kind of looks odd. Because you're not used to seeing a person breathe that quickly. So one of the things that you're most likely to notice first off is whether or not their rate is normal. Now, when you walk up to a patient and we're doing our patient assessment, and your patient says, I'm having difficulty breathing, but they show up like this, what do you think?
It's in their lower respiratory system.
Could be in their lower, but if we don't have any cyanosis, we don't have any accessory muscle use, is it likely that they're having a lower airway problem?
Probably have an upper, because I mean, you're not having a hard time getting the lungs to open and
Yeah.
pull.
You're not
air.
having a hard time getting the lungs to work. Okay? If a person's rate, let's put another thing right here. How about a normal SpO2? Now, any of these things taken individually can mean absolutely nothing. right? A person could show up with a normal SpO2 and be extremely cyanotic. What might you think could cause that? We talked about it earlier in this. What is it?
The carbon dioxide, like a high carbon dioxide.
Carbon monoxide.
Monoxide is what
Yep.
I mean. That's what I was saying.
Carbon
Yeah,
monoxide.
Carbon monoxide.
Yeah. So a person can show up with a normal SpO2 or even SpO2 of 100 and still be cyanotic because carbon monoxide has displaced the oxygen on their hemoglobin. So taking...
How did that happen?
How does that happen? Oh. Okay. So, we're in the dating world, right? Okay, and hemoglobin goes along and they're just traveling through the world, they get on Tinder or whatever, and they see oxygen and they go,
Swipe.
is it left or right?
I think it's right.
Right is yes.
If you
If
want
they like
you
it,
go right.
Yeah.
Okay. So they swipe right if they like it, right? So oxygen, or hemoglobin goes to oxygen. I kind of like you. Swipe right, grabs a hold of oxygen and takes him for a ride. You and I, we're going to date for a little while, all right? We're going to run around and at some point, oxygen's going to jump off and say, dude, I've had enough of the trip. Okay, when it gets to the tissues. Well, when hemoglobin looks at carbon monoxide, it goes, oh my God, and it grabs a hold of it and it doesn't let go.
Yeah, but where does it come from? It's a byproduct of breathing, right?
No, carbon dioxide is a byproduct of breathing. Yeah, what is carbon monoxide a byproduct of?
Gas, combustions.
Combustion engines, house fires, any type of fire, right? Carbon monoxide is a byproduct. So if you have a patient who's been in a house fire and they show up with a normal SpO2 but they've got cyanosis and they're complaining of difficulty breathing, what should you assume is wrong with your patient?
Don't have enough oxygen.
Carbon monoxide poisoning. If their carbon monoxide detector went off and they're having a hard time figuring things out, they probably are dealing with carbon monoxide poisoning. Okay, so these are all signs of normal breathing. Okay, and why are these considered signs?
Because you can observe them.
Because what?
You can observe them.
Because you can observe or measure them, right? You can observe every single one of these. You can measure this one, normal SpO2. So if somebody is complaining, their symptom is, I'm having difficulty breathing, but these signs don't match their symptoms, what are we going to do?
Leave. Say, suck it up.
Sayonara. See you later.
Diagnosing them, I guess. Start.
If your patient is complaining of difficulty breathing, but they don't have any of these signs, is there an issue with giving them oxygen?
Nope.
What's oxygen going to do?
Probably gonna help them.
It may help them. If nothing else, it may reassure them. Okay? You'll probably see a change in your SpO2. Right? All right. So how about the signs of abnormal breathing?
How do you get a normal SpO2 though if they're...
Because it just measures what the hemoglobin has. It doesn't measure its oxygen or carbon monoxide.
Yeah. The machine,
flaw?
yes. The machine measures how much of whatever is attached to the hemoglobin.
Okay.
It doesn't care what it is that's attached. It just says 99% of your hemoglobin has something attached to it.
Okay. Well, that is a game changer. I just assumed it was reading what you wanted, not everything.
Yeah.
Apparently that's not true.
Yeah. So as good of a tool as this is, and it is a good tool, as good of a tool as this is, you have to remember to take care of your patient and not your machine. Right? All right. So let's go ahead and press pause before we start on abnormal.